In Sydney's Macquarie Park Cemetery, located on the North Shore, behind the Ohel Chaim, the chapel in which Jewish funerals are held, there is a wash station, and above the faucets, a tzedakah box into which those who still carry cash place their donations. Near the tzedakah box appears a simple 3-word inscription, a rationale for those wishing to contribute tzedakah. It reads, Tzedakah tatzil mimavet. It is a ubiquitous phrase, like other phrases heard at the time of death and dying. Like Baruch Dayan Ha'emet, blessed be the righteous judge, said when one hears news of the death of a loved one or when cutting kriya at the cemetery. It is similar in spirit to the expression said to mourners once the burial is completed. Hamakom Yenachem etchem betoch sha'ar avalei Tzion v'Yerushalayim. May God grant comfort to you together with all who mourn in Zion and Jerusalem. As if to say to the Avail, the mourner, you are not alone in your sorrow. But with respect to tzedakah tatzil mimavet, I haven't given it much thought for some time. When I last considered the phrase, I understood it to mean something like this, that when one acts with generosity in the name of their loved one, contributes to charity, for example, performs a mitzvah, learns Torah, that loved one is in some way immortalized. Their deeds live on as a legacy and a testimony to their values and concerns. Hasidism believes that within everyone and everything there is a divine spark. That spark, that nitzots, survives the grave. Giving tzedakah, saying Kaddish on Yortzeit and at Yizkor raises the spark and causes Kedusha to flood into the world, filling creation with just that much more meaning and goodness. I didn't understand the phrase at all, as it turns out, until days ago while preparing these brief remarks. This afternoon, I want to share with you 2 remarkable stories of chesed, of loving kindness, the sort we rarely ever witness, and tzedek, and faith, and love, and compassion, stories that moved me very deeply. Together, they will do more than 100 homilies to teach us about the phrase, tzedakah tatzil mimavet. In Israel, acts of terror multiplied in 5783, claiming the lives of many Israelis. I want to tell you what happened following the murder of just a few. I'll begin by introducing you to Hillel and Yagel Yaniv, brothers aged 22 and 20. They lived on the Har Bracha settlement in the northern West Bank. The 2 were killed when their car was ambushed as they drove through the nearby Palestinian town on February the 26th. Rabbi Shmuel Yaniv and his wife Yona, grandparents of the slain brothers, described their children as children of pure gold, faithful to their homeland, to the Jewish people, and to Torah. The brothers carried organ cards. So soon after their murders, their parents, Esti and Shalom, made the decision to donate their sons' corneas. Evidently, tissue from one cornea can be used for multiple individuals requiring them. Within days, at the Beilinson Hospital, the restorative transplants were performed. Siona Zollberg, aged 68, whose vision had deteriorated such that she could not move about on her own and feared that she was becoming a burden to her family, received the cornea, and she said, "I thank you from the bottom of my heart for the light that you have lit in my eyes. I thank you for your noble soul and decision to do something so brave that will forever impact on my life." 42-year-old Yitzhak Biskila, the father of 3 children, also received a cornea transplant. His new cornea, like the one awarded to 44-year-old Tal Almos and Ron Carmeli, a 66-year-old grandfather, have changed the lives of many people. Afterwards, Shalom Yaniv, the boy's father, in a gesture of extraordinary magnanimity, said, "We wish for the recipients to see the world from the perspective of good and happiness, the way sweet Yagel and Hillel saw it. Their big, beautiful eyes will continue to light up our world through these 4 recipients. It gives us hope after their passing that they continue to help others." Just a bit more than 1 month later, Israel and world Jewry was rocked by another act of terror when sisters Maya, aged 20, and Rina, aged 15, of Efrat were killed in the northern Jordan Valley on the way to a family hike. As some of you will recall, their mother, Lucy, who was critically injured in the shooting, succumbed to her injuries just a few days later, leaving behind her husband, Rabbi Leo D., and their 3 remaining children, Karen, Tali, and Yehuda. This family, as well, decided that the act of terror that claimed Lucy and her 2 girls was not to be the final word of the story. Drawing upon the family's faith in God, their understanding of the Torah way of life, they chose not only to harvest the corneas, but from Lucy, vital organs, including kidneys and her heart. 38-year-old Abu Radia from central Israel received a kidney from Lucy. He had been given a month to live prior to the life-saving transplant. The UK Jewish News reported that Rabbi D met Radia following the surgery and received a plaque from him which said, "If you save one life, it's as if you saved the world." In return, Rabbi D gave him a framed blessing for good health and a good life in both Hebrew and Arabic. The fortunate recipient said, "I'd have died without this kidney. I cannot thank Rabbi D enough. He's saved my life." Leo D said, "This is what Lucy would have wanted. Her kidney is a sign of peace and reconciliation. The fact that you are alive is a miracle for us. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Part of my late wife is inside of you, and it gives our family great comfort to know she continues to do good. And you, being an Arab and a Muslim, is especially wonderful, as she did so much for reconciliation. It's a blessing to see you looking so well in your own house, he said. I've sadly lost 2 daughters and my wife, but the fact that you're alive because of them, you continuing to live, is a real miracle. Lucy D's organs indeed went on to save 4 other people who all were in dire need of transplants. Rabbi D and his 3 surviving children met 3 of the patients who were saved by Lucy D's organs. One of the patients was Lital Valenci, aged 51, who suffered from severe heart failure for 5 years and had waited 8 agonizing months for a new heart. Her doctors warned that she had just months to live without a transplant, but Lucy D's heart eventually saved her. Her daughters, Karen and Tali, got to listen to Valenci's heartbeat through a stethoscope. Karen said, "Listening to my mother's heartbeat made me feel like I am with her. It was a moving meeting. Though we have lost so much, we are comforted that so many families were saved from similar pain." Her sister said, "Nobody can understand what it is like losing a mother and 2 sisters at once, and to hear my mother's heartbeat was comforting." Tzedakah tatzil mimavet. Generosity redeems us from death itself. Friends, it wasn't that long ago that Rabbi Harold Kushner passed away. His book, When Bad Things Happen to Good People, spoke to millions of his readers all around the world. His belief, born out of personal tragedy, was simple. We cannot know why things happen the way that they do, when they do, and to those we love. The innocent, the young parents taken from children and children from their parents. What we can do, however, is try to respond to our pain and loss, if we can, with grace and with strength, with compassion, with love and generosity, as did the Yaniv family, as did the D family, as have so many of you, as have countless others, who have brought blessing and light and holiness into the world in the name of their loved ones. A world which might otherwise be shrouded forever in darkness. My prayers this afternoon are dedicated not only to my late parents, Leonard and Rhoda Roebuck, Zichronam Livracha, but to the memory of all we have loved and lost. To the victims of terror, to Lucy, Rena, and Maya, Hillel, and Yagael, and the great many others who in 5783 have died so unnecessarily. We turn now to our Yizkor service on page number 1. It is said, mourning is the price we pay for having the courage to love others, even in grief. We know that the wonder of human life is too complex and too magnificent to be memorialized in endless pain. The gifts of spirit our loved ones gave us cannot be measured or weighed. nor can they be lost or even tarnished by time. Even in our darkest hours, we know that some of their light and their warmth will always be with us, bringing comfort and courage, and in the fullness of time, healing and peace.